All right, thank goodness it's time for the Friday forecast. We can move past the Ohio State loss 62-3. How do the Huskers move past that?
Well, you just got to forget about it. It was a tough night, a tough road stretch, back-to-back road games at night against Wisconsin, Ohio State. Now you're back home this week, and 10-2 is still in front of this football team. And let's not forget about that. I think so much can get made over just one game, but 10-2, Andy, would be a great season. I think that still has to be the goal for Nebraska.
Obviously, question marks surrounding the quarterback position for Nebraska, but no matter who plays quarterback for the Huskers on Saturday, this team has to get the run game back.
Yeah, no doubt. Nebraska's season average now under 200 yards per game, and we know that money stat of Mike Riley. Anytime his teams rush for over 200, they win. They've never lost here at Nebraska, and they have not been really close to that 200-yard mark the last few weeks. And it's going to be tough against a good rushing defense this week. The Gophers are great against the run. They're one of the top rushing defenses, not only in the conference, but the country. So that will be a key this week to get that balance, so you're not in those third and longer situations like we've seen the last few weeks.
Huskers 8-0 under Mike Riley when running for more than 200 yards, 6-0 when out rushing their opponent this season. On the other side of the football, Minnesota can run the football. They've got this guy, Rodney Smith. He's run for more than 100 yards in each of the last 4 games, and that's why Minnesota's won 4 straight.
And I feel like that's always been their MO, even since guys like Glenn Mason and even Lou Holtz were the coaches. The Gophers have always had good running backs, and they've always been able to run the football. And in the climate where they play, I mean, you have to be a team that runs the football in Minneapolis, and that's what they want to do. I felt like last year Nebraska really shut down their running game, and they forced Mitch Leidner to be more of a thrower, and the Huskers did jump up on them. If you go back, Andy, and look when Nebraska lost those couple of games to the Gophers, both times the Huskers weren't able to kind of jump on the Gophers, and if the Gophers keep it tight, that plays right in their hands. I mean, if you can get them down in a game, that's when they're out of their comfort zone.
You mentioned Mitch Leidner. He hasn't graduated yet.
I mean, I think he went to school with Kevin McHale and Dave Winfield and Mitch Leidner. I mean, this guy has been there, I mean, really forever.
Right.
But yeah, he's a senior. They say he's a great pro draft prospect on the boards. I mean, Mel Kiper mentioned him in the preseason, but just a dynamic athlete. We saw a couple of years ago the game that essentially got Bo Pelini fired when they lost to Wisconsin and Minnesota. He ran a zone read, belly read option and just put on a clinic here in Memorial Stadium a couple of years ago. Then last year he wasn't really a runner, so he's kind of gone back and forth as a guy that can run or a guy that will be more of a short controlled passer.
All right, all joking aside, this is a big game, a redemption game for the Huskers secondary. They really had a rough night in Columbus. Mike Riley mentioning it on Monday that guys are trying to basically do too much.
Yeah, 3rd and 20s, 3rd and 8s. I mean, I can't believe you go back and watch some of those plays. Those should be wins. Nebraska won on 1st down. They won on 2nd down. You're in a 3rd and 20. You've got to win. And Nebraska just did not execute in those situations. It was far and away the worst performance we've seen from the secondary this year, and kind of remind you more of last year's secondary play when Nebraska struggled back there.
You would think that they want to get that bad taste out of their mouth. And finally, how does the team get the bad taste out of their mouth? They have to move forward with so much on the line here in these final 3 weeks. Minnesota, meanwhile, they control their own destiny. If Minnesota wins out, they win the West.
Well, I think it starts being right here, being at home, at night. This place will be hungry to kind of get behind the Huskers. I mean, it feels like it's been forever since that Purdue home game. So just to get back in this stadium for 2 straight weeks with the fan support, I think will go a long way. And the fact that this is a night game and not, say, an 11 a.m. game, I think 11 a.m. game could be one of those hangover specials where Nebraska could come out sluggish. And, I just think having it here at home at night, we know the history. Nebraska's won, I think, 8 years in a row, all their night games. So this is a real opportunity, I think, for Nebraska to get on track, Andy, and get to 8-2.
Primetime performance. It's Nebraska and Minnesota, 6:30 under the lights at Memorial Stadium on Saturday. It will be televised on the Big Ten Network.